Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Gayatri Gunratna. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
First fatal accident takes place on the Southern Expressway while UNP supporters engage in a demonstration in Berwala calling for the party to be brought on to a victorious path. In the meantime, Sirius TV and Sirius FM win top awards at the Slim Nielsen People's Awards. IMF says it is up to the government to decide whether it wants the remaining disbursements under the standby arrangement.
Well, now for those stories in detail. President Mahinda Rajapaksa visited the newer Bhikkhu quarters of the Tantrimale Rajamahawihara in the Mahasangha today. The new quarters were constructed in line with the Dayatikirla exhibition.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa declared open the new Bhikkhu quarters following religious observances at the Tantrimale Rajamahawihara this morning. The Ministry of Buddha Sasana and Religious Affairs spent a sum of 7 million rupees to construct the building. The road from Anuradhapura to the Tantrimale Rajamahawihara was also developed in line with the Dayatikirla exhibition. Meanwhile, President Mahinda Rajapaksa inspected several roads in Anuradhapura which were being renovated yesterday. Several roads including the Anuradhapura Trincomalee and Anuradhapura Dambulla roads are being renovated.
The first fatal accident on the Southern Expressway occurred today. The victim is a 25-year-old youth from Dehiwala.
Police media spokesperson SP Ajit Rohana stated that the accident had taken place at around 1:40 this morning. A vehicle which commenced its journey from Pinnaduwa in Galle was speeding towards the Kot Tower exit. The police said the vehicle had collided with the protective barrier near the 21.5 kilometer post and had been thrown away from the road. Subsequently, the vehicle had crashed onto a rock. The youth, who was critically injured in the accident, was admitted to the Nagoda hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. According to the police, only the youth was in the vehicle at the time of the accident. Police media spokesperson SP Ajit Rohana said that the youth had lost control of the vehicle due to the high speed the vehicle was travelling at. The vehicle was later brought to the Kalutara North Police. Our cameras captured the scene of the accident this morning. The deceased is 25-year-old Arosh Yeshan Kure, a resident of Palliadola Road in Dehiwala. An old boy of Anand College, Colombo, he was the captain of the school debating team in 2005. He was employed at the Mathura branch of a private company.
Every Friday he comes from work to see us. He goes back to work on Monday. This happened after he rescheduled his usual Friday trip to Thursday. What I have to say is to use the television channels to advise these youths to respect rules and drive carefully.
Well, the Kandibadula Road, also known as the Hatabangu Road, which runs through Mahiyangania, has been temporarily closed. Police media spokesperson SP Ajit Rohana said that the road has been closed owing to a landslide near the 52nd mile post due to heavy rain. The police have requested motorists to use alternative routes.
A group of UNP supporters engaged in a demonstration in the Berwala area today calling on the party leadership to stop carrying out acts of revenge and bring the party onto a victorious path. Incidentally, the UNP leader was to participate in a function in close proximity to the place where the demonstration was held.
UNP supporters who gathered in the Berwala town today raised black flags in protest. They charged that opposition leader Ranil Wickramasinghe is visiting the village under the guise of collecting funds for Sirikota because the true UNP supporters do not accept him. Stop carrying out acts of revenge. We urge him to unite this party and turn it into a victorious one. He is taking out revenge on Deputy Leader Sajith Premadasa, former Deputy Leader Karu Jayasurya and Dayasiri Jayasekara. Ranil Wickremesinghe kicked Imtiaz Bakir Makar out of the party. We do not accept the current UNP leadership. The people of Beruwala have reminded Ranil Wickremesinghe to hand over the party to the real UNP supporters and leave. The protest was conducted amidst tight police security. Meanwhile, the protesters attempted to move to the location where the opposition leader was due to attend a function. They demonstrated their protest when a group including the UNP leader passed by. A short while later, the protesters dispersed. Thereafter, a function was held with the participation of UNP and opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe. The function was organised to collect funds for the reconstruction activities of the UNP headquarters, Sirikota. When I was on my way here, I saw a group that attacked Sirikota. The people who arrived at Sirikota drunk were there. Attacking the party is a traitor's act. Imtiaz Bakir Makar's group came to attack Sirikota. I came here to collect money to reconstruct what they destroyed. If these people are trying to stop this, then it is another traitorous act. It is stated in the Quran that the people of Taif threw stones after getting drunk. What has happened to Imtiaz Bakir Makar's group? If they are against the UNP, whom do they support? If he is attempting to stop this, does he support Mahinda Rajapaksa?
මේ ටයිෆ් කාර්යෝ මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂට පක්ෂය ජනාධිපතිගේ දෑත් ශක්තිමත් කරනවා මම බැලුවා හොඳම නමක් දෙන්න ඒ කවුරුත් අමතක කරන්න එපා රාජපක්ෂ හේවායලාගේ ඉම්තියාස් බකින්මා.
A monetary donation was handed over to Ranil Wickremesinghe at the occasion for reconstruction activities of the party headquarters.
Former Minister Imtiaz Bakir Makar responded to the comments made by opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The leader of my party has pointed the finger at me. I request him to take a good look at himself. I engaged in politics according to certain principles. I never worked to defeat our party for personal gains. What you sow is what you reap. You have entered the record books as the individual who served as the opposition leader for the longest period of time. However, I am saddened when I think about the future of the party. Take a decision. Do not destroy this party. Do not create divisions within it. Do not point fingers in this manner and further weaken the party.
The International Monetary Fund states that it is the government of Sri Lanka which needs to decide whether it wants to draw the remaining disbursements under the standby arrangement. At a media briefing in Colombo today, Chief of the IMF SPA Review Mission, Dr. Brian Ettinger, said that nothing has been discussed as yet about the remaining disbursements.
A staff mission led by Dr. Brian Aitken visited Colombo on the 25th of January for the 7th review of the IMF standby arrangement that was made available in 2009. At the media briefing in Colombo today on the conclusion of the review, Dr. Brian Aitken said that the Sri Lankan economy had continued to expand rapidly in 2011, with growth likely to come in around 8% and inflation continued to moderate to solid mid-single-digit levels. He also noted that the government should focus its attention on the widening current account deficit. Journalists asked Dr. Aitken about the status of the remaining disbursements under the standby arrangement, which has come under the media spotlight.
As you know, we've completed 6 reviews so far. Once we complete a review, There's two more remaining, right? As you alluded to, the $800 million remaining. Once we complete a review, then the money is made available to the government. It's up to them to decide whether they want to draw the disbursement or not. At this point, there's been no concrete discussions with the government about their plans for drawing or not with us. But it's up to the government. It's not really. It's not our decision, and we don't have a view on it. We stand ready to support the government throughout the remaining period of the standby program.
Meanwhile, the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to increase both the repurchase rate and the reverse repurchase rate of the central bank by 50 basis points each. Hence, the repurchase rate and the reverse repurchase rate of the central bank will be 7.5% and 9% respectively. According to the Monetary Policy Review of the Central Bank, which was issued today, the Monetary Board has also decided to direct commercial banks to moderate their credit disbursements, while credit growth of up to 23% will be allowed.
Human Rights Watch says that the United Nations Human Rights Council should address the lack of accountability for wartime abuses in Sri Lanka during its March 2012 session. Human Rights Watch has stated this in a letter sent to Human Rights Council member countries and observers yesterday.
In its letter, the Human Rights Watch observes that the Sri Lankan government has not kept its commitments to the people, the UN Secretary-General and the Human Rights Council to undertake credible measures towards accountability. Acting Geneva Advocacy Director at Human Rights Watch, Philip Dam, has said, quote, "The failure of the Council to respond to one of the worst episodes of human rights abuse since its creation would only undermine its relevance," unquote. Human Rights Watch urged the Human Rights Council to adopt measures to implement the recommendations made to UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon by his panel of experts, which found credible allegations of serious laws of war violations by both government forces and the LTTE. It further noted that the Sri Lankan government's Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission's report largely exonerates the actions of the government forces and ignores the findings of the UN panel of experts. However, Human Rights Watch also stated that some of the recommendations on reconciliation are useful and should be implemented.
We contacted Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe, the Special Envoy of the President on Human Rights, who will also be the leader of the Sri Lankan delegation to the UN Human Rights Council session in Geneva, for his views on the Human Rights Watch letter to Council members.
Human Rights Watch has been doing this kind of thing now for some time. They seem to be obsessed with the situation in Sri Lanka. As far as we are concerned, we are working very hard towards putting into place structures that are needed to look into the LLRC report. If anyone refers to the LLRC and ask our delegation whether we can share some information about the LLRC, we are quite prepared to share that information. But we are not going to bring the LLRC report as a document into the Human Rights Council because it doesn't have a place there.